These plugins are absolutely amazing. I love SSL plugins because they just sound great, and I wanted to show you this one and what this one can do actually for your entire mix. Today I wanted to talk to you about the Solid State Logic Fusion Analog Color, and like the name says, this is a coloration tool and is modeled after the SLL Fusion Vintage Drive processor, and it has a Vintage Drive BioLED EQ, HF compressor, stereo image enhancer, and an SSL transformer. All of that inside this plugin. In the real unit, as you can see on screen, it has all of those parameters. They just modeled this unit into a plugin that is super easy to tweak and that has the same analog flavor and coloration for your tracks. So in this case, I have a beat here. I place this on the stereo out. I just wanted to try out what it does to my entire mix. Before that, it has an I/O, that means input and output interface here. Of course, input to the left, output to the right, and as you can see here, you have trims, a trim for the input and a trim for the output. So you can actually do a proper gain stage within this plugin. And of course, you have the in. This is kind of a bypass, of course, and in Cubase, you can also do that over here. The auto gain is a functionality that it's going to allow you to automatically compensate for the gain introduced by the density and the drive, okay, and the input trims, of course. Then you have the drive. The drive adds gain, introducing a unique 6 nonlinear saturation to the signal. Forget about the technicalities of it. We're gonna tweak it and we're gonna see what it does in a second. But moving on to the density. The density actually is a fine-tune effect of the circuit within this plugin. Of course, you have a mix knob, and that's for precisely that. Just create a mix between the original signal and the process signal with this plugin. Super, super easy. Let's see how it sounds when added to a mix. So before. If you couldn't hear it very well, I recommend you use studio headphones and go back and listen to that again, because it's introducing a thickness to the track that you cannot get normally within the digital realm. That's why this kind of plugins exist, because it's introducing a vintage color. And I love this plugin because you can be super, super subtle with it, and at the same time just gain that amazing color for your tracks, for your entire mixes, for whatever you use it. If you go super hard on it, and I'm gonna demonstrate that, I'm gonna put the density to 0, because that's gonna give you the harder punch and the harder distortion in drive. So let's take a listen to this again before. As you can see, it's a lot more obvious now, because we're pushing the drive to the maximum here and the density to 0. So now the density, if you're putting this on the entire mix, the recommendation based on the manual is that you leave that between 3 and 7. And the drive, of course, leaving the saturation here on green mostly. You gain more body, more fullness. This plugin is an absolute must for me now, because when I want to be super subtle, especially for not only mixing on the mix bus, but for mastering as well, if you want to include a little bit of saturation that is super nice, that thickens up your tracks, this is a must. If you go with the density to the max, notice that it's not doing the same as putting it on 0. Between 2 and 3 on the density, actually, you can add more richness to the mix. Less than that, of course, you're gonna get even order harmonics and sounds more harsh, right, in the saturation. If you go to the max, the peaks are more rounded and you have kind of more compressed sound on that side of the density. And what that does is just round up much of the peaks and get a more softer sound. And that's what you can experience now with the full-on drive and the density to 10. You get a more softer sound, more compressed sound that way. I like it between 3 and 7. That's my personal taste. And of course, you play with the drive depending on what you want, and that's going to get you the best results. The final thing that I want to talk about here is that this has an echo mode. This echo button right here. If you activate that, that means that there's, according to the manual, some clever DSP that's oversampling, going under the hood, and actually makes this plugin usable in recording and tracking. So you can actually use this plugin to track your vocals, your instruments through it using the echo mode. So if you're looking to track with this plugin, just make sure to activate the echo mode here. That's going to give you the lowest latency possible so you can actually track with this plugin. And that's all for today's video. Until next one, guys, don't stress, do your best, be blessed, forget the rest. Remember to subscribe to the channel, of course, and hit the bell so you don't miss any other video from us. See you on the next one.